Good morning. It's Friday morning, September 18th, 2020, and it's time for your morning walk with me, Sophfronia. My friend Sarah Arthur, talented writer, interviewed me yesterday for a book that she's doing. We were talking about parenting. And I wanted to talk to you today about the word that kept coming up for me in our conversation. And that word was agency. I talked about how, with my son Tane, how I'm often talking to him about recognizing that he can do things, that he has choices, that when difficult things happen, that he can look at a situation and figure out what to do. And the more I thought about that, I started thinking about my own father. My father, if you don't know this about me, my father was born in the Deep South, never learned how to read, and moved north with his brothers and some of his sisters during the Great Migration, and he got a job at a steel mill in Lorain, Ohio, worked there for 34 years. And I remember that often my father would seek advice. We had a family attorney that I've mentioned here in these videos before. But one of the things I remember most is my father, whenever asking for advice, he would always ask the question, "What must I do?" And those are exactly his words, "What must I do?" And it occurred to me that he was coming from a place of agency, that he was taking control of whatever situation was going on and figuring out what he needed to do. I'm wondering if there are places in our lives, especially as creative people, where we abdicate our agency. So much seems to be not in our control, whether or not we get published, whether or not someone invites us to do a workshop. But there is still so much that we can do, right? These days you can self-publish if you can't get published otherwise. You can teach your own workshops. You can get on Zoom and do your own readings and offer them to the public. But in bigger ways too, if we don't like the way something is going on in the world, there are things you can do about it. You can write letters, you can protest, you can make phone calls. One of the things I learned when I went to college, my classmates taught me that I had agency not just in personal, local matters, but that I could speak on a bigger stage and think about what's going on, not just in our country, but in the world. That's empowering. I think a lot of sadness comes when we think we can't do anything about something. I know that my greatest moments of sadness and frustration come when I think I don't have a choice or I can't do something. And the thing that gets me out of that is figuring out, as my father would say, well, what must I do about this? So think about that. I'm going to keep walking. How can you bring agency back into your life if you've somehow lost track of it? What can you make a choice? What can you do? What must you do to make something better for yourself, your family, your neighborhood, the world? I know you can do it. You take care. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.